The digital production buzz at the 2015 NAB Show is made possible by supporting sponsors. Shutterstock, a global marketplace for royalty-free images and videos. With over 2 million royalty-free HD and 4K video clips, Shutterstock helps you take your creative projects to the next level. And by One Beyond, leaders in digital video systems for streaming, archive, and storage. Additional sponsors include LARRYJORDAN.com, helping media pros find work, improve their skills, and keep clients happy.
Beaming live from the 2015 NAB Show in Las Vegas. Media, technology, news, insight. Connecting media professionals around the globe. This is the NAB Show BuZZ Live.
It's day 4 at the 2015 NAB Show. My name is Larry Jordan, and welcome to the Digital Production Buzz, the world's longest-running podcast covering media production, post-production, and distribution around the world. We have an amazing show for you today, but before I introduce the guests, I got to read this quote from Lee Friedman on YouTube. He's wrote, "I just can't thank you all enough for doing this. I'm keeping up with the NAB Show even though my company isn't there. This is just too valuable. A great set of interviews, and the discussions are timely." That's exactly why we're here. On the show floor, booth 11505, surrounded by some of the finest technology that NAB has to offer, and we're sharing it all with you. I want to introduce our guests for today. We're going to start with Les Zellan, the chairman and owner of Cooke Optics, talking about the latest in lens technology. Boris Yamnitsky, the CEO of Boris FX, talking about their recent acquisition of Imagineer Systems. Then Ross Shane, the chief marketing officer for Imagineer Systems, talking about what it's like to be acquired. Derek Rhodes, footage marketing for Shutterstock, and David Gibbons, the VP of marketing for Ustream, shared their thoughts on royalty-free footage and streaming. All coming up next on The Buzz. This is Larry Jordan. I'd like to introduce you to one of our sponsors, Shutterstock.com. They're a global marketplace for royalty-free images, videos, and music. Shutterstock helps you take your creative projects to the next level. Whether it's for your website, a publication, an ad, video, or any other type of project, you can choose from over 2 million royalty-free HD, even 4K stock video clips. These include time-lapses, aerials, green screens, and model-released video. Take 25% off your first purchase. Go to Shutterstock.com and use offer code NABBuzz15. That's NABBUZZ15. And if you're attending NAB in person, visit Shutterstock at booth C1727 in the Central Hall. It's all at Shutterstock.com. It all starts with the glass in front of your camera. If you don't have a good lens, I don't care how good your camera is, you don't have a good picture. And when you want good lenses, you're thinking Cooke. And Les Zellan is the chairman and owner of Cooke Optics, the manufacturer of Cooke lenses. Les, it's always fun to chat with you at the show. Thanks for coming back.
It's great to come by.
Tell us about what Cooke is for people that haven't heard of the company before.
Cooke is legendary within the film industry, and obviously now as film and digital and video seem to all come together, we're making headways into that end of the industry. Cooke's been around since the 1880s. We've been...
Really? 1880s?
1886.
You don't look that old.
I know. I'm pretty good. Although my voice is getting old today. And in the motion picture industry, at almost every critical junction, Cooke has been the company that solved the problem. Up until sound films came out, we made our first motion picture specifically for the motion picture lens in about 1905. When sound came out, we developed the Speed Panchros, which were the first real professional fast lenses that made sound movies possible. Because
The lenses were too slow before that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they were light with arc lights and really noisy, or sunlight.
Or 10-second exposures for
Yes.
a single. That was a little long for film.
Yes. So, and then when Technicolor came out with the 3-strip color process in the 30s, nobody could figure out how to have that long back focus they needed, because the Technicolor 3-strip camera was essentially the forerunner of the 3-chip video camera. And nobody could figure out how to do that. And they came to Cooke. Cooke invented a whole new genre of lens design called inverse telephoto, which is a standard form today for everybody. But it was invented by Cooke, and that solved that problem. And then later, we developed really the first real professional zooms for the motion picture industry. And then when I took over the company, we came out with the first modern prime lenses in the 90s, and you know, it's just been
When did you
strength
take over?
to strength.
When did you take over?
I took over the company in 1998.
That's a long time ago.
It seems like yesterday, but it's a long time ago. We've had great success with all of our products.
We've got a lot of people that are watching that are instantly Googling Cooke lenses and saying, good golly, these things are like $800 million a piece.
Yeah.
Well,
Not
900
quite.
million. But
Yeah.
the point is that I discovered the last time you and I talked is that you don't necessarily need to buy a Cooke lens to take advantage of a Cooke lens. You can rent one.
Exactly.
And that was a little piece of insight that had eluded me prior to this, because it gave me the ability to take advantage of the look of a Cooke without having necessarily to invest when I don't have that kind of money
Sure.
in my budget. It's obvious in retrospect, but it's so cool to discover for the first time.
Yeah, well, you know, our main, within the industry, be it film and now video and TV and everything else, our main customer really are the rental houses. They probably buy about 70% of what we make.
Really?
And now that, with digital, as the cameras become less and less expensive, people are understanding what you said in the intro. It really comes down to the glass in front of it. The camera is, as great as Sony and all these guys do, and with their cameras, it's really just a computer in a box on your shoulder. And everybody knows that it's going to be, it's obsolete by the time you put it on your shoulder. But the people are still making movies and TV shows with glass we made 80, 90 years ago. So it's pretty amazing that the glass just holds its value and holds its usefulness.
Now, analyze the lens. I know you've got new stuff. I'm going to talk about it in a second. But analyze the lens. If I were to slice it open, is it just a single piece of glass inside?
Oh, no. Lenses are multiple elements and multiple groups. A big zoom may have 20, 30 pieces of glass in it.
20 to 30?
Yes. A prime lens, maybe 10 to 20, depending on the focal length.
One of my favorite interviews, and you guys need to look this up, was about 3 years ago from NAB, was when you were describing how you pick the clay that goes, or whatever it is, that goes into the lens, the actual thing you dig from the earth. And that description just sticks with me in terms of how you have to pick the right components to melt down, to form the glass. And I'd do it again, but we don't have enough time. It's just one of my most favorite discussions, and one of the things that sticks in my mind about chatting with you.
One of the things I do, and I know we're not going to do it here, but I've been invited all over the world to give a lecture on lens making. It's about an hour and a half, so we won't do it here, but it's quite fascinating.
No, but I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
What have you got that's new for us this year?
Last 2 years we've been talking about anamorphics. We announced them 2 years ago. We started delivering them last year, and we were introducing anamorphic prime lenses. And excuse me, we're doing front anamorphic lenses, and that's pretty important. There's a distinction between front and rear anamorph. The distinction is, if you want it to look anamorphic and you want the anamorphic artifacts and what I call anamorphic funkiness, the character of anamorphic, you have to do the squeezing in front of the iris. If you do it behind the iris, it looks spherical. So we introduced these front anamorphic prime lenses, announced them 2 years ago, started delivering last year. And what the industry was missing was a front anamorphic zoom. So none of my competitors that specializes in zooms they were all doing rear anamorphic, so while they have the coverage, they didn't have the character of anamorphic. So this year we've announced a front anamorphic zoom, which we'll be delivering later this year.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that is just fascinating to me is we talk about the technology in microchips and we talk about the technology in the computer, but the technology in a lens is just as complex and just as challenging. And how do you keep up?
It changes probably slower in this. We're dealing really with glass, and we're not in electronics where somebody comes up with a new chip tomorrow. But we are dealing with different glasses and new metal components and new ways of manufacturing, 3D printing and so forth. It's a challenge, and our product is really handmade.
Which gets me to something we'll talk about the next time. Les, where can people go to learn about your gear?
Sure, they can go to cookeoptics.com. That's COOKEOPTICS.
Cooke Optics, all one word. Les Zellan, CEO. Les, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Beyond loaned us the video gear we're using to present the BuZZ at NAB. We're using 3 One Beyond StreamCam PTZs for our live cameras and the One Beyond Stream Machine Pro to switch, add titles, encode, stream live, even record the show for later posting. The Stream Machine is portable, the size of a briefcase with a convenient handle, built-in screen, and keyboard. It includes 4 HDSDI inputs, so it's easy to set up anywhere and begin broadcasting. This one unit replaces all the gear used in the traditional switcher, recorder, encoder configuration. Also new at the show, the One Beyond StreamCam Auto Tracker. The Auto Tracker automatically follows a speaker with no camera operator required. One Beyond has a new way to experience a multicam event online. The One Beyond U-Switch player lets the viewer switch between cameras in their browser, live, as they watch. See all of these at onebeyond.com.
If you've been using Avid equipment at all, or any video editing system, you've heard the name Boris FX. Boris FX was founded by Boris Yamnitsky, who is both the co-founder and the CEO of Boris FX, a huge operation based on the East Coast, so big, in fact, that I didn't know how big it was until about a day ago. Boris, good to have you join us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
You have been making some great news. We're going to talk about the acquisition of Imagineer a little later in this conversation. But I did not realize that Boris FX was actually more than you in your basement. You've got a team of people back there.
No, absolutely, yeah. I'm blessed with the best and brightest in this industry.
And what products are you creating now? I mean, the Continuum Complete runs on everything, including big pens. But what products do you have?
Yeah, well, Continuum Complete is our flagship product, and it runs on most of the modern-day analysis and compositing systems from Avid, Adobe, Sony,
How would you describe Complete?
How do I describe Complete? It is a Swiss Army knife of visual effects. It will do pretty much everything that a modern-day production, post-production, compositing is demanding, and it can withstand very serious rigors of day-to-day post-production work.
There's 2 philosophies in creating effects. One is to keep the interface as simple as possible so that people who are just beginning to use the effect can make productive use of it. And the other is to expose every possible control so you have infinite control, but it's sometimes intimidating. Boris tends to lean toward the second. Every possible control is exposed.
Well, there's a trade-off here, obviously. And we spend a lot of time, racking our brains trying to figure out what's the best way to present the feature, so present the power of our underlying technology to the user. And yeah, sometimes the filters themselves get somewhat complicated. But on the flip side, we provide a very easy way to figure out particular look or particular preset with the FX browser that we provide with every filter.
So describe what the effects browser does.
It is a system, it's a window that lets you browse all possible presets for any filter on your computer, and including the ones that ship with the product, as well as the ones that the user will save himself or herself. And it shows the effect in the animated fashion, using the footage. That's the best part of it, that it's based on the clip from the host system. So it's kind of like try before you buy it situation.
So I can see the effect as the preset is defined without having to tweak any of the adjustments that are there.
Yeah, right. Yes.
You create Boris Complete, Continuum Complete, for a variety of platforms, Avid, Premiere, Final Cut, as you mentioned just a few minutes ago. Is there a difference in quality or a difference in result between the different platforms? I'm not trying to say better or worse, but are they different?
Of course. No, we support the best quality available with the system. Many of the systems nowadays provide the float image format to us, and we take full advantage of the float format and process it natively in that float format, 32-bit format. But some of the traditional video formats, for instance, 10-bit format that most cameras produce, will result in 16-bit processing in our engine.
So you're taking the math pretty deep. What have you got that's new with the show? Again, excluding Imagineer, because I'm going to come back to that toward the end.
Yeah, and it's kind of very hard to exclude.
I know.
Because
well, first, let's talk about
that's
why did you acquire Imagineer?
Okay, why did I acquire Imagineer? Actually, for a very, very good reason, and that is, all our products take full advantage of masking and tracking in every possible way. Because every effect that typically you would want to produce is limited to some portion of the image. Very rarely you just want to blur the whole image.
Yeah, true.
So masking and tracking have been part of our products since the inception. We've always had a motion tracker built into every Boris Continuum filter. It's a simple point tracker, but it works very well and very fast. And we always had something we called Pixel Chooser. We coined that name, and it's actually very, very well known now. An engineer who designed the first version just called it Pixel Chooser. And it kind of stuck. So, and Pixel Chooser is basically a way to isolate a portion of the image for filtering. But we always knew that there is this famous best of breed, incredible, unbelievable masking and tracking system, planar tracking system called Mocha.
And every word you said is true. It is unbelievable. It is world class. Right. It's amazing.
Yeah, truly. So it is, like head and shoulder above all other solutions of that type. And it was always my dream to do something with them, partner with them, to some extent. And obviously, when the opportunity came along, I did not pass it.
So how are you integrating it?
Okay, so the main idea behind this, I usually call it a merger, because I view this as the merger of best minds.
A short answer, because we're going to be out of time
yes,
soon.
Real quick. We are transferring technologies between the two products. So the Mocha masking and tracking is going into the Pixel Chooser, into the Boris Continuum product, so that it will be readily available right within the Avid product line, for example, within the Avid project. And vice versa. Our best image restoration technology is going into Mocha, so that it kind of makes Mocha this much more functional and valuable.
We're going to talk with Ross Shane from Imagineer Systems about specifically Mocha in about 25 seconds. Where can people go on the web to learn about Boris?
It's at www.borisfx.com.
That's all one word, borisfx.com. Boris Yamnitsky, the CEO. Boris, thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. We started with Boris Yamnitsky, who is CEO of Boris FX, and they acquired, as you heard, Imagineer Systems. Well, Imagineer Systems, the face of the company, is Ross Shane, the Chief Marketing Officer. Ross, good to have you with us.
Thanks, Larry. Great to be here.
So how does it feel to be part of a larger organization?
It feels good. It feels good,
Should people that have grown to know and love Mocha over all the years panic that the world is over and it's done, go to bed?
No, not at all. Actually, we have a really, really great story for all the users. We're still here, and Mocha's just going to get better and better.
Now, Boris started to talk about that with the integration of Mocha into Pixel Chooser and integration into Boris FX, and he just barely got into the integration going back the other way when it was time for you to come on. Tell me what's happening from Mocha's point of view.
Sure. As you know, Mocha has this planar tracking and masking tools as a standalone application.
Which is amazing. It is. Boris is not exaggerating when he says it's unbelievable and world class. It is really, really
good.
It's
really, really powerful technology and quite easy to use. And in this past year, it was used on many big feature films, including Birdman and Gone Girl. So it's a really great visual effects tool. Within Mocha Pro as well, we actually have the ability to render and to remove objects, and that's used quite a lot by visual effects artists to remove a foreground object, or even by an editor who basically wanted to remove a boom that's in a shot and remove it. So what's really cool is that within BCC, there's lots of really impressive technology that we really appreciate and that our users have been asking for. So getting keying and image restoration tools into Mocha is really exciting for us.
So what you're going to be able to do is take the best pieces of what he has and integrate it into you so that people that have gotten used to using Mocha can continue using Mocha. You're just adding new features faster than you could develop them, actually.
Exactly. And also, our really mature, great tools are very fast. Yeah.
What do Mocha users need to do to take advantage of this? Have we got upgrades to worry about yet, or is that still in the future?
That's still in the works right now, but even though the merger just happened, 3 months ago, we were at NAB this year. We're showing technology, the Boris technology in Mocha and vice versa, as Boris mentioned. Later this year, there'll be an upgrade.
Tuesday next week?
No, I think a little bit longer than that.
With the integration of Mocha with Boris, what can people start to see? In other words, people that haven't worked with Mocha, describe what it can do.
Sure. Like a very typical thing that an editor needs to do, especially an editor who's working in maybe reality TV, they're asked to blur objects, right? Blur a face, blur a logo. So what they would typically do is try to either hand keyframe a mask to isolate the blur.
I have done that.
Right.
I don't like it.
Or else they would run a point tracker on that. The issue is that when someone's moving around or if they get obscured by a foreground element, the tracker just wildly goes off, and then the editor, the artist, they have to go into manual keyframing.
Because the points, you have to see the point for a point tracker to work.
Yeah, if the point is obscured, then the tracker just doesn't know what to do.
So
right?
What's the option?
The option is to use Mocha, where we use this, where we do the planar tracking, and it's a totally different methodology, but this allows someone to just basically draw a shape. The shape tracks very fast, and then you have this isolated area.
How do you deal with the fact that portions of the shape will disappear?
We're tracking basically pixel textures, okay? Patterns of pixels as planes. So we actually track large areas of the screen. So if I'm tracking an object, say, on my body, but it gets obscured, I can actually track other pixels from different areas that are moving in the same relative direction.
So you're not looking at any specific point, you're looking at sort of a geographic region.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Now, there are other products that Imagineer Systems developed over time. What happens to those?
Well, really, at this point, we have a core family of products. We have Mocha AE, which, as you know, is licensed to Adobe and found within Adobe After Effects. That relationship is still continuing. So After Effects users still have that light version, Mocha AE. We have an upgrade to Mocha Plus, which adds more functionality. And then we have Mocha Pro. So
You've also licensed another piece of your technology to CoreMelt.
Yeah.
And they're doing TrackX and SliceX. Is that in jeopardy as well?
No, we have a great relationship with CoreMelt, and that's a great product for Final Cut users to get access into Mocha technology.
Roger would be very glad to hear that.
Oh, yeah.
What do you see as the future? What trends are you watching? And this is not looking for product announcements. It's looking just at where are we headed? Where are we headed? What? Granted, the integration of the products is clearly number one priority, but looking farther beyond, is motion tracking at a dead end and we're just watching objects, or is there more technology that you're keeping an eye on?
No, there's lots of technology. There's lots of future for motion tracking. Certainly one thing we're doing is trying to accelerate the planar tracker, and that's something that we're doing some research and development on. Image restoration, as Boris was talking about, is a huge area now. Everyone's shooting in very high resolutions, and actors and people who are on camera are very conscious of the hyper-realness, and so skin smoothing is a very big issue. And using algorithms to smooth skin but retain the detail and then mask using Mocha tracking is a very important thing these days.
So it's a step beyond facial recognition.
Yeah, it's isolated face recognition. And what happens in face recognition that can be difficult is when something that goes out of focus, lots of motion, is where facial recognition might not be able to.
Or if the head turns and one of the eyes disappears, they don't know how to recognize the face.
Yeah.
So we're back to tracking masses of pixels again, which is where Mocha leads.
Exactly. Yeah. There's lots of other kind of exciting research and development that we're doing with multi-plane tracking and solving.
Multi-plane tracking, what's that mean?
Basically tracking multiple cameras. Okay, so if you have a camera that's moving around in a shot, there's things called witness cameras. Basically, other cameras on set, they might not even be looking at the actors. They're just looking within that space and finding resolutions that you can basically reconstruct the set based on multiple cameras. Some really interesting things that we're doing.
That is some amazing stuff. For people that want more information about Mocha, where can they go on the web?
It's ImagineerSystems.com.
Even though you've been acquired, you're going to have a standalone website?
Yeah, really, we have sort of like two sister companies that are working together as one, sharing technology, but Imagineer Systems branding and products retained.
So you don't have to sell your house?
No.
That's all one word, ImagineerSystems.com. Ross Shane is the Chief Marketing Officer for Imagineer Systems. Ross, as always, the technology you guys make is just incredible, and I wish you and Boris the greatest success on the acquisition.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
I've got a ton of brand new training videos showcasing all the new features in Final Cut Pro 10.2, and they're all available today. In fact, we've updated our entire Final Cut training for this release. We added more than 70 new movies covering every major and minor new feature in the software. Then I figured as long as I was recording, I added new techniques and new ways of working that I've discovered and written about in my newsletter over the years. We've updated our workflow and editing training with 31 new movies and effects with 41 new movies. This makes our Final Cut training the most comprehensive, most up-to-date, and most affordable way to learn everything about this amazing software. It's quick, it's easy, and it's complete. I'm proud of all of my training, and especially proud of this one. Get your copy today in our store at LARRYJORDAN.com, or even better, become a member of our video training library and get access to all of our training for one low monthly price. Both are incredible values. Thanks.
These shows at NAB would not be possible without the support of our sponsors, and Shutterstock is a key contributor to making all these shows possible. Shutterstock was founded in 2003. They are headquartered in New York City, and they are a leading provider of royalty-free images and clips and all kinds of cool stuff. I'm delighted to introduce Derek Rhodes. He's with Footage Marketing with Shutterstock. Derek, thanks for joining us
Thanks
today.
so much for having me.
You guys are new, as opposed to the Getty Images of the world and Artbeats and Creatas. And first, why start Shutterstock when you've got 800 competitors? And second, why should somebody even consider Shutterstock?
So I think when John Oringer started Shutterstock, what he saw was that the marketplace was sort of filled with sort of a tired model. That everyone was kind of doing the same thing. He felt like the prices were too high, and that he could sort of launch a crowdsourced model, keep prices low, keep things transparent, be super contributor friendly, and really take on Getty Images and some of the others in the industry, and that's exactly what's happened.
Now, what does contributor friendly mean?
That means it's very, very easy to sign up to get started submitting to Shutterstock and to become a contributor. You just go to submit.shutterstock.com. It's super, super transparent. We have a really, really friendly contributor portal where you can see your earnings in real time, get information on what's happening with your sales, and then we have great tools like a keywording tool that helps you keyword quickly so you can get your content up and get licensing.
Now, one of the things that's important is to have footage to sell, so getting people to contribute footage is important. Can they contribute footage non-exclusively? For instance, can they sell on you and sell on other royalty-free sites?
Absolutely. So we're totally non-exclusive when it comes to the core site with the image and footage offerings. And so, yeah, that's an option.
You've got almost like 500,000 clips, is it? Do I remember my notes?
No, it's much higher than that, actually. We have
600,000?
We have 2.5 million footage clips.
No way.
On the site.
2.5?
Yep. And of those, so last year at NAB we launched our 4K collection. At this point, we're close to 200,000 4K clips. So nearly 10% of the collection is now 4K, but over 2.5 million video clips right now, and over 50 million assets total.
So here I am. I'm a filmmaker. I'm sitting looking at all of my footage.
Yep.
And I say, I want to make some money on this. What kind of footage is selling? What should I give to you guys?
Right. So we really license a very, very broad range of content. We see a lot of people licensing aerials and establishing shots. Time lapse is really popular. I'd say model release content is our most popular category.
Now define what that means.
So model released is when you have recognizable people in the footage, and we have a model release form that's filed and legal, so we know it's totally cleared for commercial use. And those images and videos do really well because obviously people need images of people when they're illustrating things or to tell a story. So that's a big category for us.
So why would anyone post footage that's not model released?
Well, there's a separate category of footage there, and that's called editorial. So we have commercial and editorial as the two categories. Editorial footage and images, those can be used in news stories, on websites that are editorial in nature, and television shows and that sort of thing, if it's a news focused.
Without them getting arrested? This is a big point. I'm not clear on this at all.
Right.
I thought that in order for me to use any footage from any royalty firm, it has to be model released. Is that not true?
If you're licensing something that's in our editorial category, it's sort of a clearly stated part of the license agreement that you're only using that content for an editorial purpose. So in those situations, if you have a news story or a website where you're discussing a topic, a blog, and it's an editorial context, then you can license that from us, and you're fine. If you want to use that image commercially, that's a totally different matter, and then you need a model release.
Now, define commercially in that case.
So commercial would be, an advertisement of some sort, or a video for your brand that's customer facing, where you're trying to show off your products. So
if I'm using it, my self-interest is training. I need footage for training to show how editing software works.
Yep.
So the footage is being used to illustrate training, and I sell the training. Do I need commercial or educational
You
footage?
absolutely need commercial in that case. You
Okay,
cannot use editorial footage in that context.
So
if
therefore,
it's a commercial context,
I'm
you have to
going
stick
back to model released. Fortunately, I'm safe. That's all I've used, so my conscience is clear.
Good.
What have you got that's new for the show?
As I mentioned, our 4K collection is growing really rapidly. We're up to near 200,000 4K clips. What's been really exciting for us this year is in January we acquired a Montreal-based company called Premium Beat. So it's a super high-end production music company. And it's really the first time we've moved in a super serious way. We did have a Shutterstock music offering, but this is sort of a next level of reaching out and trying to expand more aggressively into music.
Why?
Well, I mean, it's pretty simple. What we found is that people who license footage are people who need production music. So it's the same crowd, more or less. As a post-production guy myself, I've had a need for music almost every time I have used footage, and so they go together perfectly. It's great. I mean, images as well. People will add stills to their productions. So we want to be a one-stop shop.
Okay, so now I'm going to yell at you for just a moment.
Okay.
Why is it so hard to license footage that has audio that I can use? I would like to license a short piece of dialogue.
Yep.
And it can't be done. I hold you personally responsible.
Okay.
Why is it so hard?
That's an interesting problem, actually. So we do have a small percentage of the footage content on our site does have audio with it. It's usually ambient audio, not typically featuring people speaking. So if you're shooting model-released footage, generally you don't have people acting and delivering lines. So when you do find those clips, it's typically traffic sounds or the ocean or things of that nature. That's a good question, though. I mean, most of our contributors, I think, if they're shooters, probably think of audio after the fact. They don't. It's not
like
their main focus.
Most shooters.
Most
yes.
shooters, right? If you're out capturing things, generally speaking, people aren't. I don't see people with headphones on very often.
Slap somebody for me.
Okay, I will try to.
One of the big challenges I have is trying to find footage for training purposes. I need to be able to show how a scene looks, and licensing footage with audio is impossible.
I mean, I'd say this is a great tip for Shutterstock contributors that would be listening. And we have over 70,000 folks that have content on our site now. Capture that audio. Larry needs it.
Absolutely. And, I could use 70,000 clips in my training on a daily basis.
Okay, good to know.
Where can people go on the web to learn more about your company?
It's very simple. Just shutterstock.com is the best place to find all of our products, and submit.shutterstock.com if you're interested in becoming a contributor.
That's all one word, Shutterstock, Shutterstock, shutterstock.com. And Derek Rhodes is Footage Marketing with Shutterstock. Derek, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Take care.
Thank you.
From absolutely nowhere a few years ago to today, the world of video streaming and online video streaming has exploded. We know this for a fact because you're watching the show streaming live. And one of the companies that's been deeply involved in this whole process is a company called Ustream. David Gibbons is the VP of Marketing for Ustream. David, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure, thank you.
How would you describe Ustream?
Ustream is the largest live video streaming platform on the internet. And in the last couple of years, we've been evolving to be a platform for recorded video as well. And we've been making our platform available for businesses of all kinds, including many of the people here at NAB, to use as a way to share their media and to promote their businesses.
Now, you're differentiating between live and recorded. What's the difference to you?
Well, live tends to be a great deal more complicated to pull off, as I'm sure you're well aware.
Amen to that, yes.
And that's also true at the technical level, right? Behind the scenes, the packets of video need to be processed in a very time-sensitive way, and there's a very different set of algorithms that are applied to processing video when it's being streamed live than on demand.
So let's just walk a workflow through, because the arrows are still bleeding at this point from us as we put it together. We have our production, so we've got a switched production. We're now compressing that into an H.264 stream. What happens next? How does that get from where we are in our studio to somebody at home watching? What's the workflow?
It's a great question, and it's actually maybe the least understood part of live video streaming. People often think, since they've got an H.264 stream, that's enough and it's ready to go.
That was our original thinking, so I plead guilty to that.
But you're quite right. People get it down to a great-looking line cut, and at that point, they need to bring it into an encoder that will prepare it for the live stream. And the encoder will make sure that it's coded to the right spec, and H.264 is definitely the recommended video format to use. It will also make sure that the stream is fed up to the ingest point that's part of our platform, so that the stream can be taken in and some additional processing can be done before it's turned around and fed out to the players.
In general terms, what's the additional processing?
So in general terms, we're taking the stream in, we're making sure that we synchronize the audio and video components, we're transcoding it, we're doing two jobs, transcoding and transmuxing, because we're taking it from the incoming resolution and generating in the cloud some usually lower bandwidth resolutions, so that viewers on lots of different types of devices will all have a good buffer-free experience. And then we're also converting its format to make sure that it's suitable for streaming on iPhones, tablets,
There you're talking HLS, HTTP live streaming?
Exactly. So we're making sure that versions are available for both. And then we're also recording it simultaneously. So we make a recording as it passes through our system. Unless the broadcaster has said, let's not do that, we automatically generate that recording.
Now, this is that second server, the streaming server that's at your end, is actually doing two things. It's doing all this transcoding, but then it has to feed what we've learned is called a CDN, a content distribution network.
Exactly.
Because if I've got 1,000 people watching, there isn't enough bandwidth coming from my host system to feed 1,000 people. Does Ustream provide that CDN, that additional bandwidth?
Yes, we do, and that is one of the key components that makes live quite a bit more complicated than on demand.
Again, something we've discovered over time.
So, if with on demand, 1,000 people watching a video will probably be spread out over the course of a week or more. But with live, they're all literally connecting at the same time, and your content delivery network, your CDN, needs to be equipped to deal with that.
So, where does Ustream fit in? I walk through the booth and I've seen a number of different competitors. Livestream is huge, and Ustream is a competitor to them. How does somebody decide whether to go with you or them or invent their own system or whatever?
That's a great question too. I think like a lot of technology transitions, we have seen many companies start by going, we can make our own system that will do this. And then they quickly encounter all of the problems of device compatibility, of transcoding to multiple different formats. Those are all the kinds of problems that, frankly, most people who are involved in producing the video are better off leaving to a platform to solve. And Ustream is a platform that solves all of those very elegantly.
We are completely convinced of that fact. Why you, not Livestream?
Well, we have a broad platform now that we've been evolving into several different editions that solve specific problems for customers. So you may want to just simply stream live, and of course we do that. That's our pro broadcasting platform. But lately we've been making a couple of different editions. One is Ustream Demand for people who want to capture information about their customers to drive their sales and their business, and Ustream Align, which allows you to do very secure internal streams to communicate with your employees.
For stuff where you don't want the public to pay attention.
Right, so if you're sharing information about your strategy internally and you have a global workforce and you would like to reach them at scale and live, and also provide a recorded way for them to catch up with that, then you need an enterprise-grade security platform that can also deliver the live streaming experience that people expect.
Now, there's a couple of components. I'm going to ask about price, and I realize that price you can only answer as if it depends. But there's two sides. One is the process of feeding you the signal, and the second is the bandwidth necessary to support 5 or 5,000 or 5 million viewers. Describe how you price both of those sides.
So we don't charge for the incoming signal. That's the process that we call the ingest. Basically, that comes in for free, and we have, at this point, more than 30 million people with free accounts on Ustream who use that to share content with their friends.
30 million originators?
Yeah, so in 2014, for example, more than 20 million individual live broadcasts were originated on our platform. So over the 7-year history of the company, 30 million people have registered and done a broadcast of some kind, and a lot of them are still doing that, as you can tell from that number.
So, okay, so now we've got the origination. That's free, called the ingest. Yeah. So how does Ustream make money?
So at that point, if you want to share it broadly, you can do that actually for free as well. We have an ad-supported, completely free account that lets people get used to the platform and understand its capabilities. At some point, most people go, well, I don't really want advertising content on my content. I would like to take more control of that stream, maybe control the way that it's branded as well, and then they start to pay us. And our plans start from $99 a month and go up there to enterprise plans for tens of thousands.
And what are we buying for the $99 a month?
So we basically sell the ability to reach an audience of a specific size, and people size that audience by figuring out how many people will watch and how long will they stay watching for. At $99 a month, you can have 100 people watching for an hour, for example, and we call that 100 viewer hours.
So what we're paying for really is bandwidth for distribution.
Exactly.
And your fee is coming out of that bandwidth.
That's exactly right. And we operate our own content delivery network, which allows us to provide that at a lower cost and give people a great service with transcoding included.
And for people that want more information, where can they go on the web?
They can visit us at ustream.tv, and that's where you'll find information about all of our products and also about lots of people who are broadcasting even from the show.
That website is the letter U, ustream.tv, not com.tv. And David Gibbons is the VP of Marketing at Ustream. David, thank you very much.
It's been my pleasure.
I wish I'd talked to David about, 6 months ago. It would have decreased a lot of stress on a lot of people's lives at the office. We are delighted to have you join us via video streaming, and we now understand a whole lot better how it works. I want to thank our guests for today. We began with Les Zellan, the chairman and owner of Cooke Optics, Boris Yamnitsky, the founder and CEO of Boris FX, Ross Shane, the Chief Marketing Officer for Imagineer Systems, now a part of Boris FX, Derek Rhodes, Footage Marketing for Shutterstock, and David Gibbons, the VP of Marketing for Ustream. Think about the breadth of the technology. Cooke Optics started in the 1880s. Ustream started about 5 years ago. All of it covered here at NAB. We've got one more live show at 1 o'clock. I invite you to join us. This is the Digital Production Buzz at the 2015 NAB Show.
The BuZZ would like to thank Debbie Price, our event producer, One Beyond for the cameras and video streaming system, Advantage Video Systems for the onstage monitor, and our incredible BuZZ production team for making all of these shows possible.
The Digital Production Buzz at the 2015 NAB Show was made possible by supporting sponsors. Shutterstock, a global marketplace for royalty-free images and videos. With over 2 million royalty-free HD and 4K video clips, Shutterstock helps you take your creative projects to the next level. And by One Beyond, leaders in digital video systems for streaming, archive, and storage. Additional sponsors include LARRYJORDAN.com, helping media pros find work, improve their skills, and keep clients happy.